we're going to go on to charting. And one of the best ways to analyze your worksheet data or to get your point across to other people is to display your data visually in a chart. For example, if you had a chart that looked like this to represent your data, you can see that Barney, just by looking at the bars, you can see that Barney has the highest bowling scores. Excel gives you lots of flexibility when you create charts. It enables you to place the chart on the sheet or put it on a separate document. And then you can make it look the way that you want to. No matter what you choose, the charts are linked to the worksheet data. Any changes you make in the data will automatically update them. So for example, if you look at Wilma has a third game of 89, and you can see how short the bar is. If I went up to Wilma's data up here and I clicked on this one right here and I put 200 in there, you will see that that bar that said 89 jumps up to 200. If I were to go into Betty's name right here, you can see Betty's name, and I put Sally in there, you will see the name has changed. So they are linked all the time. I'm going to undo those. Just like if I were to take this data and delete it, you will see that everything in the chart will be deleted from the chart. So again, all the data is linked when you are working with a chart and a spreadsheet. So again, what we're going to do is we're going to select some data. We're going to click on a chart. We're going to manipulate it, check our results to see if it makes sense. Okay, so what I want you to do is to get the bowling Excel spreadsheet that is in today's link on Canvas homepage. That way we all have the same original bowling items. Something else you'll want to do is make sure you're watching this video on another device so that you can actually do the steps along with me. You will understand it a lot more if you do it with me. Once you get that, we're ready to roll. Okay, to create a chart, we're going to select our data first of all. So this is what your chart looks like, your spreadsheet chart looks like. And I shouldn't call it a chart, but it's your spreadsheet. This is what it looks like. We are going to choose data that we want to put into a chart. So I'm going to start with members because I want game 1, 2, and 3 up there. And I'm going to go all the way down to Barney's numbers. If I don't choose that first line, if you look at, I'm just going to, you don't need to do this, but I'll show you. If I were just to choose that and create a chart, I'm just going to create one real quick. You can see that I'm missing some of the data. You can see down here it says series 1, 2, 3 rather than identifying what I want. So again, I'm going to choose from members down to there. So I'm going to go from A3 through D7. Then I'm going to go to my insert tab up at the top and I'm going to insert a chart. But you can see that there's lots of charts, and again, you have to pick a chart that's going to represent your data. Not all charts work really well. For example, a pie chart would not work well here because that only deals with one set of data. So we're going to start with column and choose the first column chart. Okay, once we have our chart selected, we can make a number of changes. I'm going to show you how to do them manually, and then I'll show you how to do them the quick way too. We're going to take a look at, you can see the chart just floats on the top here. Okay, I'm just going to stretch mine out a little bit so you can see it a little bit better. And we're going to go up to, make sure that you have your charts clicked on, and we're going to go to the elements part. You can see there's a number of elements that we can add or take off of our chart. The first one we're going to take a look at is the axis, and you can see that there are check marks by both of them. The axis, for example, your horizontal is Fred, Wilma, Betty, Barney. Your vertical are the numbers that run up the side. So if we took off the primary horizontal, if we just take off the check mark, you will see that your names disappear. and that you no longer have your horizontal axis. I'm going to go back up to Elements, go to Axis, and I'm going to turn it back on again because, again, you need to identify those lines. You just can't have some random lines showing up on your chart. Our next one under our Elements is our Access Titles. Okay, neither of them are checked, so neither of them are showing right now. If we choose a primary horizontal one, you will see that an Access Title comes up down there. I'm going to touch that, and you can see that the Access Title has the blue handles around it. If I tap it 2 times, you can see now I can actually type inside of this text box. So I'm going to delete this, and I'm going to put team members in there. And again, I can go through and I can select that. I can go to my home screen. I can change it to an orange color if I want. I can change the fonts, make it a little bit bigger if I want, and so forth. So anything we've done in Word or our text box, we can do right there. Okay, we're back to our charts, elements, and our access titles. Right now we have a primary horizontal. We're going to put a primary vertical on there. You will see that it shows up along the side right here. I'm going to do the same thing, is I'm going to select all the information that's in there, and I'm going to put scores. And again, I can select it all. I can go to my home button. If I want to change that to more of a blue color, I can do that. I can make it a little bit bigger, smaller, whatever I want to do with that to make it stand out a little bit. All right, so we've put in some access titles. Our next one, we're going to go back to our chart tab, to our elements, and we're going to go to the chart title. You can see right now our chart title is above. It is right here. Okay, and that's where I'm going to keep it. So I'm going to double click in there. I'm going to select all the data, and I'm going to put Valley City Bowling. And again, since this is a title, I want this a lot bigger just to kind of stand out. So I'm going to make this about 28. No, I'm going to go just a little bit higher. I'm going to make it 36. And I'm going to keep it black. Okay, so again, I've got my chart here. Go into my chart tab. Go into elements, my chart title. You can see that it's above the chart. If I chose center overlay, you can see that the numbers run all the way up to the top and it's within the actual chart itself. Okay, I'm going to put it back, my chart title back so it's above center. Next in line with our elements is our data labels. Right now it shows none. We're going to choose center. If I do the center on my data labels, you can see that the numbers that are in the spreadsheet show up in the chart, and they're in the center. Okay, let's take a look at the rest of them. Elements, data labels, inside the end. Okay, we got that. We got data labels inside the base will be at the bottom. Our data labels outside end are on the outside, just what it says it is. And then we have our data callout. If I were to go back and choose now, I've chose the data callout as our last one. If I choose inside base, you will see the data callout is still affected. Okay, so how I get rid of that is I go to my data labels. I'm going to choose none. And then I can actually go to my data labels and choose inside end or something, whatever I want. If I want to get rid of the callouts, I have to choose none first of all. So that is our data labels. Do you want labels in your chart or not? Keep it in mind now, there's all kinds of charts that you can create. Okay, the next one under elements is our data table. Right now there is none, and we'll take a look at what this means. We can choose with legends. Okay, so that's what it did, is it put the table from my spreadsheet underneath. And it explains it a little bit more. I think it kind of makes it a little bit messy, but it might be, you might serve a purpose for that. A data table with no legend keys. The only thing it did was it took off the colors off the side. Okay, I'm going to go back to the data table and I'm going to choose none and go back to my regular chart. We're going to skip the error bars for now and we're going to go on to grid lines. So you can add some grid lines in the back line. Sometimes it makes it a little easier for you to see the numbers in the chart. So right now it has primary, major, horizontal. That's these grid lines that are back here. If I put primary, major, it's going to put those lines in there. That's what it did. We also have primary, horizontal, and you'll see how you're accumulating the check marks here now. Okay, so you can keep adding smaller ones. And then we have the grid lines where primary, vertical, we would add a couple extra in there. And again, this might make it easier for you to see your data, maybe not. Okay, if you don't want them in there, then you're going to go back to your grid lines and start choosing again so you can take the check marks off. And if I took them all off, it would look like this. I'm going to go back and put the grid line on the major horizontal ones. That one helps pretty well. The next thing under elements is the legend that we're going to take a look at. The legend is this part right down here, the little guide that shows you what the bars represent. Okay, legend right now, it says it's at the bottom. If we choose none, it looks like that. That one's a little hard to see because now we don't really know what the blue, what the orange, and the gray bars really are. Okay, so we're going to go back to our elements, go to our legend. Let's put it on the right side. And here you have it. And we can go elements, legend. We could put it at the top. It shows up right here. We can put it at the left side. And we can do the legend at the bottom where it started. The trend line, right now we are going to skip that. Okay, couple other things that I'm going to show you on this chart here is make sure that you are in your charts option. We can use the color option. Okay, so we can choose color. We can pick a scheme of colors. Maybe you want a little different scheme of colors. Maybe you're doing something that deals with the school. So maybe I'm going to pick the highlighter blue colors, the colors that represent the school and so forth. You can also choose some colors you just get by scrolling up and down on there. You can also choose what are called styles here. Okay, if you look at the styles, it adds some different styles to it. You can try a couple of those, see if you like those types of styles. Again, it just depends what type of data you have as to what works well with this data. So you can just kind of flip through some of those. Okay, along with colors and styles, we can go back. I'm going to go back over here. Now we're going to go to the layouts. Now that we've gone through all the stuff that you can add to it, if you look at your layouts, once you create a chart, and I'm going to do this real quick. I'm going to just move this. Oops, sorry about that. I'm going to move this chart over, and I'm just going to create a new one. I'm just going to pick the data, insert charts, and just create what I had from before. And this time, instead of going and adding all those elements, I can go to my layouts right there, and I can choose what I want now that you understand what they are. If you look here, this one has the legend up at the top. It has the numbers up to the side. It does not have some of the options that we want. I'm going to go down here and choose something with a title. I want the title on there. I'm going to choose that one there. See what it looks like. Okay, so there's different styles or layouts that you can choose to add different elements to it automatically. Or you can add them yourself by going through this elements menu. We can also take this chart, any of your charts, and choose a different type. Again, like I told you before, if I chose a pie chart, just this top one, you can see that it's only going to pull out game one because pie charts are good for one series of data. Okay. If I choose a line, the line charts would be pretty good. They would work out. They look kind of weird. They're hard to look at. When I look at the one on the left here compared to the one on the right, I find it's easier to understand a bar chart for this one. Or a column chart. There's also the bar one that you could use that works really well. You can see that Barney, after 3 games, it's real easy to see that he has the highest number. All right, I'm just going to get rid of that one there. Couple other things. We're going to go back to this one again. We've done some quick changes. And now we're going to try a couple other things. Just remember that you can click on a lot of those elements and just retype information or make it look a little bit different and so forth. Okay, with this, we can also insert shapes. I'm going to go to the icon, I like the little icons here. Once they load up, I'm going to choose this magnifying glass and I'm going to hit insert. Okay. I'm going to close that out. Just give it a little bit more space. I'm going to click on this magnifying glass and you can see that I can lay it on top. Okay. Now when I click on my chart, now you'll be able to see that the forward and the backward is no longer grayed in because now you have a couple of layers to work with. You can also add clip art. You can add shapes. You can go to your drawing tool and add some drawing to your chart. Everything we've covered before. The last thing I'm going to show you is the sorting part. Okay, right now we can go to the home. I'm going to select the information here from Fred down to Barney. I'm going to select that whole chunk of information that I want to sort. You can see it's Fred, Wilma, Betty, Barney. I'm going to go to my data tab. If I sort ascending, you can see that it goes B to W in alphabetical order. Over here, it also changes. Okay, as another, I can go descending and I can go from Wilma to Barney. If I try doing it just by selecting specific cells, you can see what a mess that I came up with. So I'm going to undo that. So again, if you're going to be sorting, sort the entire line for Wilma all the way down to Barney, the entire line of data.